You're listening to We Deepen Media.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Deepen with Christina. I'm your host, Christina Weber, founder and CEO of We Deepen, Feminine Weapon, and also a certified professional coach and leader of the Love Club. If you haven't lately, go to wedeepen.com, hit on that social calendar. You will now see that it is divided up into cities. We are going to be populating that calendar with experiences, social and transformational experiences that we've curated, handpicked to inspire more meaningful, healthy relationships. If you're not in those 4 cities, Miami, Los Angeles, Austin, Texas, New York City, don't worry. Check out the multi-day experience calendar because there are many events happening that you can travel to. One coming up that I'm super excited for is Summit at Sea, which is happening in early April. 2,000 people will depart on Richard Branson's Voyager, leaving Miami, Florida, Miami, Florida, and venturing for 3 days. That experience always gets rave reviews, and people come back having built great friendships, bonds build best over time. So not only Summit at Sea, but checking out those other events. I will be at the biohacking conference happening at the end of May, beginning of June. That should be up on the calendar by the time you're listening to this episode. I'd love to see you there and experience the biohacking conference with you. Also, the Love Club, we are opening up registration for the Love Club. It is a 6-month intimacy accelerator that includes peer-to-peer matchmaking, comprehensive relationship education, and accountability to your love goals. So if you are currently single, come in and join us. The group right now ranges in age from 28 to 87. These are all people who are growth-minded and are relationshiping in community. My guest here today is actually here from one of the members of the Love Club, Asha. Shout out to Asha. Made this introduction because we're going to be diving deep into family constellations.
Constellations, yeah. Constellation.
But before we get there, if you do enjoy this podcast, please do like, subscribe, rate, give it 5 stars. It helps more people find it, helps me continue to host it, and helps bring more people into the We Deepen ecosystem. You have more opportunity to connect with others who are growth-minded, who want epic love lives. Definitely hit that subscribe button, rate it. Thank you. I highly appreciate it. So let's get into today's conversation. In preparing yourself or even in having a healthy relationship, there's all types of healing experiences that are available. And I'm using that word healing. That doesn't mean that you're like walking around the wounded bird and you're, oh my gosh, my life is dreaded. Sure. Maybe you're having a bit of that experience. Maybe you're frustrated with dating. Maybe you are questioning your relationship. However, lots of people are absorbers of content. They turn on their TVs at night and they watch other people live these, play out these fulfilling lives on the TV screen and immerse themselves in other existence. But here's the thing that's really interesting right now in the quote unquote conscious community. And I do use those quotes of conscious community because, what I will say is happening in this ecosystem is that people are exploring, they're having new experiences, and they're realizing, for fulfillment, for great life fulfillment, if you put growth first, you will more easily achieve a fulfilling life. And you are more, you'll get more rich contextual experiences to share with those people who are most significant in your life. And so these experiences, having, whether, you're going to a summit at sea or a biohacking conference or joining the Love Club, or, even embarking on EMDR or taking a course, these are what develop you to be able to have the skills to have healthy relationships. And so the family constellations are one of those modalities that you can use for healing or for self-amusement. I want to say it's self-amusement. And in self-amusement, you get to feel all of your emotions. I mean, when you watch TV, you see the actors, they cry and they laugh and they're having like an immersive experience of life. And that's what you can have too by embarking on some of these unique experiences that a lot of people haven't even heard about. I, for one, have been hearing about family constellations for quite some time. I haven't fully, I can't say that I've had my own experience in it yet. But I've invited Amerly here to have this conversation and to dive into it because you are an expert. You came, highly raved about from one of our members of the Love Club. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Deep In with Christina.
Thank you so much, Christina. And I celebrate your curiosity for this modality that I have witnessed that have changed the life of many. Accelerating the process of getting closer to the essential. For us, each of us has a destiny and are fulfilling goals, and we seek more love, as you said, and we seek more success. And sometimes the answer of all that is not even in our intentions, because our intentions are always great and the best, or fulfillment and accomplishment. But sometimes the answer is in the past, in what it shaped us, in our ancestors, in the story, their unfulfilled dreams, their suppressed emotions, what they couldn't overcome or achieve. We inherited. I call it emotional inheritances. So it's very profound to delve into these dynamics that shape us and that are not conscious all the time, that are, I could say, 95% in the unconscious. We hold loyalties and entanglements to ancestors, and each soul chooses a unique entanglement that sometimes block the outcome of the fulfillment of the desires. Yes.
Yes. So if you're listening, what we're going to do here today is first, Amerly's going to share with us about, I'd love to hear how you got into this work. What exactly is a family constellation experience? And then you're going to give listeners an exercise so they get to have an immersive listening experience here today of what family constellations are like. And I'll get to experience that with you for the first time as well.
Yes, thank you. Well, I've been in the helping for my entire life. I'm 49. And since I'm 21, I'm training myself in emotional management, in belief decode, in ontology coaching, leadership, facilitator, and bioneuromotion, which is biology, emotions, and illness. And when I got to Family Constellations 15 years ago, it really got me. I said, this is the puzzle that really got everything together, and the whys behind many of the things we faced. And adding that ancestral component, because we have many layers, right? We have the layer of the physical and the mental and the emotional, the energetic, because that's what we are. We are information, we are emotions, we are energy. And even though we don't we're not aware of it, or we know it, we all possess that inner wisdom that lies in the body, and all the information that is in our genes. It's not only your features, your blonde hair, your blue eyes, but also the emotional information that is stored in our genes, that it never gets lost, because the information is energy. So it keeps there and it travels in waves. So the science of epigenetics says how information travels and how it's organized in the cells. So the idea of the constellations is a setting, is a method, integrative method, developed by German therapist Bert Hellinger in Germany. He was an integrator. He even lived with the African Zulu tribes for many years, and he discovered how they, in their wisdom, reconcile themselves, their conflicts, their tribulations, their ancestors. So he created this philosophy of the orders of love many years ago, 50, 60 years ago. So he started integrating the body, the mind, the emotions into a field. He says that we all belong to a great field that contains all the information. And the consciousness is outside. So the awareness is inside, but the consciousness is outside. So we all entangle. And it's also like quantum physics, The whole is in the part is in the whole. So we come together in this setting, in this circle, as a group. It can be done also one-on-one, but in a group it's very revealing. So if your audience haven't had the experience of a group setting, it's so magical. And we represent energies with the body. We pass it through the body. If someone comes with a conflict, constellate means to observe. Constellate actually was a wrong name that it was given, translated from Germany. And when the translator said constellations, Bert Hellinger said, constellations. Oh, all right. I like it, because everything in the universe has order, certain order. The planets, the sun, the moon. If you move one thing, 1 millimeter, probably everything falls down, right? Everything obeys to an order. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing with the family constellation, the orders of love, belonging, hierarchy, balance between giving and taking. I love at the beginning that you were inviting your audience to find more love and to prepare themselves and to get into self-knowledge. That balance in between giving and taking, what I give, what I take, the amount I give or I create debt into others, that create disorders, imbalances that in a constellation setting we can observe. So constellations in the deep means to observe something from another level. The level of the soul is called also movements of the soul. The soul moves in a very silent and sacred ritual, and they get into a reconciliation. And something moves inside the client as well. That's the idea of a constellation.
Two things that really stuck out of you said, and I'd love to even unpack the find more love, but the observational element to the experience. I work a lot with people who are currently single and they're dating, as well as people in relationship. However, when you're currently single and you're dating and you're desiring to be in significant relationship, the observational element is so important. I remember a time, and maybe this ties into the constellation, because what's happening right now is on dating apps is that the people that, where we're seeing a lot of ghosting and such, is because there's no constellation. that's actually developed between the people? Are there's a disillusion of constellation? There's like I haven't really seen you in my world. You haven't really been significant. So I don't feel bad if I just ghost, if I disappear, because I have no real ties to you that seem significant, although there are ties, because there's universal ties that are truly happening. And so to really care for the people that you're interconnecting with is helpful to go into the observing of self through that experience. So let me give you an example. I remember years ago when I was dating, and I really liked this guy. Like we had fun together. I enjoyed his presence, but I never had this draw to make out with him, or, I didn't necessarily want to develop a intimate romantic relationship, but I enjoyed his company. And I knew that I had to tell him. And to tell him that was dreaded having to have that phone conversation. And so I sat and I made some notes of the things that I wanted to say. And then I told myself that I was going to make this phone call and I was going to witness myself making the phone call. I was going to watch myself have the conversation like I was watching myself in a movie. And then I was going to say the thing that I was fearful of saying. And then I did it. And him and that was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And just recently in Vegas, I'm in a new relationship. My significant other called him up because he moved to Vegas and he opened the studio, and we went to visit him. And the three of us had a really sweet hangout experience. He's newly engaged to somebody else. And so those, I feel like, and we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what a family constellation experience is like. 'Cause I know people can actually go to have this experience, but I imagine there's also an integration of that practice into your life. Like, do you integrate it into your life as well?
Absolutely. And the thing here, and you said something magical, the type of relationships or difficulties that I encounter in a relationship are related to some programs that we bring. So every single dynamic that we encounter, this difficulty to say this or to face this challenge or to say no or to break up or to surrender to a relationship that doesn't make you happy, any conflict that you might be experiencing probably obeys to some dynamic that was unresolved in the past. I've seen, and everything brings compensation. Everything in life seeks compensation. It's like a new opportunity from the universe to give it a different solution. So if you come from a feminine lineage where the women were surrender or submissive to the men and couldn't express themselves, or they were mistreated, abused, abandoned, betrayed, we could bring certain type of programs that make us relate to or do transactions with the environment different. Sometimes they resolve themselves with the awareness, with our journey of awareness, and some others in a constellation, and that's why the constellation is a great tool, unfold that dynamic so you can see in the field that ancestor that had a hard time, that suppressed her rejection, her anger, and you reconcile that. So the constellation, if you ask me to resume in one sentence, is a ritual, a method to restore the love that once was lost. That is about the method. What in the past couldn't be fulfilled or overcome or was unclosed. And also what you just said, the way of living. That was something beautiful that you just said. is an invitation to live in this order, to live in these forces of love, to acknowledge what are you bringing to your interaction, how much you are giving to the other one that the other one can receive to keep feeling worthy and free. Or you're creating debt so the other one cannot pay that debt back and feels in the soul. Again, this is unconscious. This is not anything we have in the conscious, but it gets unfolded in a constellation when these women come with situations that they want to find love or find partnership. A lot what that appears, it's also that they are out of their rightful place in the nuclear family. The space, the energetic space for the couple is not available because they are covering energetically from one of the parents that was absent, emotionally or physically. So if you're not in your rightful place, and that's the force of hierarchy, belonging, hierarchy, balance of giving and taking. So if you're not in your rightful place, respecting that hierarchy, I am the child of my parents, and I am in my full force when I am in my place, probably the space of the partner is going to be taken by one of your parents. So unconsciously, you're not going to attract a partner, or you will attract the partners that reflect some wounds that you bring from that nuclear relationship in between your two parents. So you're half mother and half father. So that's what we bring into the interaction.
You said that you're now 49. You started this, healing work, the helping work at 21. What, at so many years ago, why, how was that your chosen path? Why did you choose to go into this work?
So beautiful. I love this question. And I always tell my students and the facilitators, when we become constellators, it's because we have to heal a lot from our family. So the families all choose someone that comes and heal and reconcile. And for me, in my case, it was what I told you before. I was the let's say the psychologist of my mother since I was 12 years old. I remember my mother crying for my father not to leave. She even got in under his car crying, do not leave, do not leave. And I had to take her out. I was 12. And I told her, he doesn't love you. Let him go. In that moment, that wound, she lied on me to be her savior, to be her support, her psychologist. So I remember she called me crying and I said, it's okay, you're going to be fine. So I lost my rightful place. There's certain disorders towards the parents. You can be the savior of your parent, the psychology of your parent, the sibling of your parents. If something happened during your pregnancy, during the time you were in the womb, you can become the symbolic partner of one of your parents as well, if one of them is missing. So it's that energetic place. Everyone in the family has its rightful place energetically. And sometimes the child, because they want to save and in their infinity and pure love, they take over to save the parents. That's why we see many conflicts and illness and difficulties in children, because they are at the service of the elders. I was one of them. And now that I am healed and I've been in this journey, I say, thank you for all that happened. Thank you for all that. And thanks to my mother, because now I am in my place and I allow myself to be the daughter. And I got this purpose and this mission of helping, of serving, which is truly my purpose and my love. So everything you see back, your wounds, your conflicts, and everything makes sense at the end. And it shapes you into your purpose.
I was
So there's nothing you're facing. Yeah.
I was contemplating of last night as I laid in bed about coming here today and recording this episode with you. And personally, I have a hard time with feeling success in my body. Although from the external world, they look at me and perceive success. Even a session with a chiropractic recently, he had felt it. He was like, your body has a hard time. He acknowledged that. And I take it back to, childhood. My brother is 4 years older than me. And growing up, he would say things like, you have the worst voice ever, the worst singing voice ever, don't sing. Or I'd be practicing for the cheerleading squad tryouts and be like, you're never going to make the squad. So there was a constant diminishing of my lights that I then also was driven to overcome. But then the feeling like it was almost like I could never really settle in to feel my own essence of my light, because I think, being 4 years younger, the second child, I came along, who's this little girl? Why is she here? This was my world. And now she is, cute blonde headed blue eyes. That's getting the attention. And what the fuck is this?
Of course. And that shaped you somehow, because that information that we receive in childhood, and it was a male, right? It was your brother, you said?
Yeah.
That in transactional analysis, that is also a foundation for family constellations. We call it discounts, strokes or discounts. The way we open ourselves to receive tender care, love, or the way we relate, that we need those discounts, those negative traits to survive. And also, I was telling you, we are half masculine and half feminine. That's the two sources that give us life, a father and a mother. And the way that energetically we relate to those energies shapes our success, our abundance. And we all come full of these life scripts that we adopt in childhood. We already know in childhood if we're going to be successful, if we're going to marry, if we're going to have children. Those are decisions taken in childhood that are related to our wounds, to the way we relate to our parents, to the things that we were told, to the things that we hear, to the things that we didn't hear. So many clients and women come to me like, oh, well, I feel like I'm divorcing because I don't love my partner anymore. And I'm, bored of the relationship, and we fight and we don't get along, but because of my children. And what I think, and when I see them in the field, in the constellations, because of your children, you have to take decisions because they are absorbing everything that you even don't say. They learn by the energy, the unloved energy around, the incoherences that you are living in the intimacy of yourself.
Can you share a story of how somebody has transformed through having this experience?
Yes, good question. Okay, let's. It comes to me one related to success. I was in a group setting, and this woman comes. I'm like, very talented, very talented. She was absolutely talented and beautiful. And she said, I start all my projects. Everything I start, I just let it die. I get bored. I just don't strive to finish it. And I said, okay, choose a representative for those projects. And I asked her to choose a representative for herself. And I asked her, that was later, I asked her, choose a representative for yourself. It's always necessary in the constellation. And choose a representative for your projects. Immediately, the representative of the projects felt depleted, weak, like laying on the floor. And I always tell the representatives, whatever you feel that you want to say, do it with your body, because I include the somatic experience. So the representative lay in the floor.
And the representative is another person.
It's another person from the group. Usually the client is next to me. So I tell her, you're next to me, observing your constellation, breathing, seeing the movements. And the representatives are from the group. They don't even know what they represent at all. They don't know what they are. That is a conversation in between me and her. And I tell her, choose a representative for yourself. When she put it there, choose a representative for your projects. That was in private. Nobody knows there who's who. So the representative for your projects, not even knowing what it was, felt dizzy, super bad, and fell in the floor, laying face down. And I know by the language of the field that this is a suicide. That is a suicide. Someone in the system that's suicide. So her projects were entangled with a suicide. And I asked her privately, did anybody commit suicide? And she was like, the partner of my father, the business partner of my father, he owed a lot of money to my father, and he couldn't bear that, and he committed suicide.
Wow.
So I asked, okay, bring your father. So she chooses someone for her father and stand in the constellation. And from there, she could acknowledge that the energy she was compensating with her own projects, the loss and the guilt her father felt for that partner.
Mm.
So in the reconciliation, she saw the dead person, honor the destiny, leave it in between them, did the movement towards her own life, reconcile with the masculine. I leave your responsibility with you, and with you is it in between you two. Now I go to my life. That's a like a ritual, a reconciliation with healing sentences. But the representative of the client was down in the floor looking at that death. Of course, her projects couldn't succeed. They were entangled with. So that is an example in how you release from dynamics and patterns that don't belong to you, that belong to the past, and they come to the constellation. The field offers you one image, ecstatic, that will later, because the energy doesn't die there, start a movement, a shifting of energy. That is a beautiful. And I even tell the client, do not think, do not unfold the movements, do not analyze. It's not in our understanding, it's in the unconscious. Something will start moving. And months later, I mean, she is so successful. So that was a very, very beautiful story that she could overcome after one constellation.
Wow. Wow. So I'd love to invite anyone listening to have an experience.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful.
If we could do like a 5-minute experience for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the first invitation for really getting in tune with the body is to understand that everything talks to us. And we are guided, even though we don't know it. If we accept to feel, to see, to listen, we will realize that our bodies and the environment drive us with a movement. So there's an energetic inner biological wisdom that is there, that is even a tool for all of us. to grow, to release, to bring emotions that are stored in the body out. So the most important job during a constellation group setting is to prepare the group to receive this information. So what I do is a technique called quick coherence technique. It's from the HeartMath Institute. I'm also a mentor and facilitator for the HeartMath Institute. And it's activating the wisdom of the heart, the electromagnetic field. The heart is the organ that connects us all. So when we breathe and when we see each other and we interact, even through the screen, because the only system that doesn't synchronize here is the endocrine system, the smell. But everything else, the heart, the energy connects perfectly. So I invite my clients to breathe through the heart. Focus the attention. You can do it all by while you listen, doing whatever you're doing. If you're driving, if you're walking in the park, if you're laying in your bed, you can all focus your attention in the area of the heart, right in the center of your chest. Imagine the air flowing in and out from your chest area. Yes. Recognizing that breathing is a dance in between giving and taking. So when you inhale, you open yourself to receive, expand your chest. And when you exhale, you give, and you even surrender, and you say yes. Suddenly you feel you're breathing through your heart. Your heart is the one inhaling and exhaling. And acknowledge that love flourished with the balance of giving and taking. As you exhale, connect with every part of your body. Relax and acknowledge every cell, every atom, every molecule. Beautiful. The more you breathe, the more you are out of your mind and you're feeling your body, its energy. Now extend your awareness beyond yourself. From the heart, visualize that electromagnetic field expanding and reaching the field of consciousness. Acknowledge yourself as part of something greater, of something bigger that is driving you towards your destiny, towards your mission and purpose, towards the forces of love. I want you to now visualize behind your right shoulder the presence and the energy of your masculine. You can place your father right there at a comfortable distance, at a distance that is comfortable for you, that allows you to keep breathing at a comfortable rhythm. Acknowledge the sensations in your body when you have that presence and that energy behind you. Behind your left shoulder, you can welcome and feel the presence of your feminine. You can place your mother right there at a safe distance for you, a comfortable distance. If by any chance anyone substituted for your parents, you can place them right there too. If you're adopted or you never met your parents, but I invite you to place the energy of your biological parents, the ones that gave you life, the ones that are your force, behind each of your parents, you can place the energy of your grandparents, the four of them. Your paternal grandparents behind your father and your maternal grandparents behind your mother. Acknowledging each one place. It doesn't matter if you didn't meet them or you don't know them. Give them a space, a form. Even if your creativity allows you, give them a face. Acknowledge their space. Acknowledge if your body feels depleted or renewed, and allow yourself to feel the sensations. If any emotions arise, depleted or renewing, don't judge them, just feel them. Feel the movement of your body. If your body feels like pushing forward, advancing, or if you feel a little pullback. If it's necessary, you can welcome another generation, your great-grandparents. Usually the ones that you inherit your moral consciousness, your values, your yes, your no's, your opinions, your beliefs. And you feel these energies that they all belong. That whatever they faced has shaped you into the person you are, into the challenges you're facing. And you're able to say yes, yes to everything that is behind, everything that they had to overcome for you to make it, for you to be here. Acknowledge that you are the result of all these stories. Now I want you to take your gaze in front of you, far away, and having those energies behind you and feeling the force that gives you to recognize them, to include them, to accept them. Now take your gaze far away and open yourself to something bigger. Breathe in and allow yourself to get fulfilled to something bigger. Keep feeling your body, aware of your cells, molecules, and atoms. See everything that compose your life. People, situations, events, emotions, interactions. And say yes to each. Each of those encounters is a sacred encounter that reminds you whatever was unfinished back there. Say yes to each of these energies that compose your life. Even to everything you reject, allow yourself to give it a place. Because everything we reject, by compensation, we live and will manifest again and again, as many times as necessary, until we say that yes from the heart. Now see yourself exactly as you are and say yes to yourself. You accept how you are, to your character, even to your limitations. You are exactly how you're supposed to be. Now let's take it even beyond. You're going to see all these things that are in front of you. And you're going to say to them, thank you for being who you are. Thank you. Even if you don't understand it. To the difficult, to the challenging, to the beautiful. Thank you for being who you are. And that will open doors for you to say to yourself, thanks to myself for being who I am. When we are in this flow and this energy of the yes to everything as it was before, and yes to everything that is it, we allow the energy of our purpose to manifest easily. We connect with our destiny and our mission. So you can do this exercise as many times as you need it. That will help you work in the belonging, feeling yourself as part of your system, giving each their own rightful place, which give you more force. And working in that balance. When you are in your rightful place, you're in your full force. So I hope that helps your community to acknowledge the importance of recognizing the belonging and those forces of love.
That was so relaxing and so significant at the same time, to just dive deeper into those, like the perspective. And it's almost like the butterfly effect, how every decision and everything that we do matters. And even those things that came before us, of how it all matters. It was fascinating to also consider my great grandparents, because I rarely have. I to my knowledge, I never met them. And so to see, just to be in that meditative experience and to draw them in and to feel that connection. I imagine for some people that experience can be challenging, depending on the relationships and that we have, and the families that we grew up in or didn't access. There are 150 million orphans worldwide and 18 million children living at this moment without a single parent alive. So to even see the universal family that is available to us as well through the bonds that we make in significant connection, and the opportunity that we have to reorchestrate and to bring new energies to us, and to be much more deliberate, discerning with who we're choosing to align with moving forward. And that's something that we have the opportunity to consider much more deeply than any generation before. Yeah, thank you for your work. So you gather in the Miami area, you're gathering groups to have this experience?
Groups. Yes, I have groups in Miami, usually every other Saturday. My next one is March 16, and then I have April 6, another one, and usually also online. And I have my facilitators training, and I have a community that we meet every other Thursday online. Beautiful women, deep conversations, constellations, systemic exercises, embracing the systemic approach. It's called Soulful Awakening Tribe. Yes, and they're all around the world. I have women from Australia, Germany. Yes.
Amazing. I would definitely include in the description of this podcast that link for anybody listening to be able to access that. And I would also love to invite you to share those experiences through the We Deepen Network. And we can talk about that offline. But if you're listening, I'm going to go and make sure that we can get those experiences shared to you on that calendar, whether they're in Miami or any other location. And also we do have the We Deepen Miami WhatsApp group. So that's a great place to start very easily and share those experiences there.
Yeah. I would love you to come, Christina, anytime, please. You will honor me.
I'm in Austin, Texas, but when I make it to Miami, I would love to have that experience with you.
Actually, I think I have to go to Austin, Texas very soon because I have 3 students there and they are preparing a group for me to go and observe their observations after graduation. So I will definitely let you know so you can join us.
Amazing. I love that. I love that. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. Is there anything else that you want to make sure you share before we wrap?
No, just my gratitude, my deep gratitude to you, to Asha, to your community for the opportunity, the space to spread a little bit more of this, and just my gratitude. It was so beautiful to have this conversation. It was flawless and beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For resonating with this.
And I'll share the gratitude for you for being one to realize the power of this work and to take it on as a career and to share that with others. When there's careers in finance that people that take on to build their big homes and do their big lives, and to be in this field of deep service and be fueled by it is really beautiful to witness. So thank you for your work. And thank you everybody for listening to another episode of Deepen with Christina. Again, if you do enjoy this podcast, please do like, subscribe, rate, give it 5 stars. Also, if you found anything helpful as you listen to this episode, I encourage you to share it with a friend who may resonate and you may support them in their own healing and their own achievement to have the healthy, epic love lives that you want for them to experience this lifetime as well. Until next time, I adore you. Bye.